Hi, welcome to Pardon My Frenchie. This is me, 143. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. Welcome to the fourth edition of the Kitchen Edition, where we are having more fun in the kitchen than probably anybody should have. Well, who doesn't love donuts? I know I do, and I think your pet should love them too, which is why this edition is for your pets and the love of donuts. And so anyways, when I was online doing my regular online shopping like I typically do, I again came across the silicone donut shaped pan, like you can see here. I know that I've said in the past that I hate the silicone pans because of the whole debacle with my whole little Lego person that I mentioned a couple weeks ago. But I have said, and I will say it again, that I am wrong. And this is on the recorded line that I am wrong. Yes, I'm wrong. I do like it because anything that you make in here will pop out easily. And now the only thing I will say is that when you do put things in here, you do have to be careful. You can't just go throw it in the oven all willy-nilly. And because if not, it'll end up on the floor and nobody likes that. But anyways. So yeah, these are really cool. They're on Amazon, or I guess you can buy it in the store too. I didn't look in the store. I'm an Amazon shopper. Amazon is my friend. I'm sure people in the neighborhood probably think that I'm, have an affair with the Amazon drivers because they're, going around the neighborhood so much and stopping at my house. But needless to say, these are great. And again, I was pretty skeptical about getting them, but now I'm kind of in love with the little silicone pans. But so for this, we are going to be making apple cinnamon dog treats that are very, very healthy for your dogs. And I got the little silicone thing so that we can make them in the shape of donuts. And then we're going to decorate them to look like donuts too, because why not? And they'll be fun and you can take them places. And if you want to impress your friends and go, oh, look how, fun and cute and little Martha Stewart-y I am. God love Martha Stewart. Who doesn't love her? But, if you want to really impress them, you can do that. Or you can make your friends mad, or you can make other people mad because they'll think that you are Martha Stewart-y as well. So anyways, let's get started. But I also want to point out another thing too. You don't have to use the silicone pans. One thing I also found that you can use this recipe on, there is a thing out. Now this has been out for a while. It is, and it's made by this company called Dash. I'll put a picture up. It'll be next to my head here. But it's this company called Dash. And I actually have it plugged in, so it's kind of hot. Let me grab my little thing here. But yes, it's kind of hot. But this company called Dash, I'll show you it here. What this is this is a little donut maker. So what you can do is you can put this recipe in one of these. And when you put it in here, it takes less time to cook in here. Now, granted, it will make smaller treats, which I'll show you. Then, of course, these are bigger, of course. But it will make smaller ones, and you can make more of them quicker. But it will make smaller ones. Now, what I was going to point out on this. Jen likes to save money, okay? I looked at these, and you can absolutely go to the store. You can go to your Meijer. You can go to your Target. You can even go on Amazon, and you can find that product. And I believe when I had seen them, because I was going to go, you can go, and I believe they ranged anywhere from $29 to maybe $30 or $40. Now, one thing I did remember, because I'm a person, I like to sometimes go to Goodwill or Volunteers of America or wherever. I'm one of those people that, and I don't know if you are too, I'm one of those people that there was a time Jen would have bought a donut maker Jen would have been sitting around saying, I think I'm going to make some donuts for my family. I'm going to get up early on a Sunday morning, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to make donuts for the whole family. I'm going to, surprise them. And so Jen would get up and she would go buy herself a donut maker, and she would make those donuts for the whole family. And guess what? Either Jen wouldn't do it, or Jen would do it once and say, I'm never doing this again. So guess where the donut maker would end up? Donut maker would end up at the Goodwill or the Volunteers of America. So I was thinking to myself, I remember when I would go to some of these places, or even at garage sales, there's a lot of people like Jen that would start little projects like that and give up. Kind of like the good old shake weight. Who didn't have a shake weight? Thought that was a good idea at one time too. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Jen, I didn't have a shake weight. You absolutely had a shake weight. I know you did. We all did. We all thought the shake weight was going to work until we thought, it's kind of obscene, isn't it? You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so before you go out shopping, I guarantee it, go check your Goodwill, go check your whatever. It's garage sale season. Get out to the garage sales and go see if there's one out there laying around. I went to my Goodwill, $4. So instead of me going out and purchasing one of these at Target or wherever, $4 at the Goodwill, knowing that I'm going to be making these for my pets. I'm not making it for my family. I'm making dog treats for my pets. So I cleaned it up. It was actually in great shape anyways, because again, there's probably a Jen sitting around at home thinking she was going to make donuts for her family, and maybe did it once or twice and it was like, I'm never doing this again, and dropped it off at the Goodwill. So keep that in mind. Sometimes on things like this, when you're making dog treats and want to do something like healthy, even on the dog treat maker, the one that I had on the very first episode, you can find things like that there. I also, when I was there, and I'll show it in another episode, they had a little bunt maker as well. You can make little dog treat cakes out of that. Keep a lookout for things like that. There are tons of failures out there like Jen out there at these Goodwills and so forth that had these great ideas and just were like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to drop it off at the Goodwill. And then people like me are like, hey, I'm going to make treats for my dog and I'm going to use them. So cash in on that, check out those places, and then, join me on these episodes. We can make great healthy treats for our dogs, and it's a win-win. You're happy, I'm happy, Rosie's happy, Noir's happy, Sparky's happy, everybody's happy. So anyway, so let's get started. Now that I've plugged every other, organization on the planet. But yeah, this thing is really cool. I really, really liked it. So let's get started on the actual recipe. That's what we're talking about. Let me get back on the right track now that I've talked about all the failures in life. And again, if you had a shake weight, it's all right. I did too, and there's no shame in it. I don't think it worked either, but that's okay. So let's get started on these. Again, it is an apple. It's an apple cinnamon dog treat. So we're gonna again start out with our 1.5 cup of wheat flour. Again, wheat flour is kind of the staple of dog treats. Good for your dog, healthy for your dog, a lot healthier than unbleached flour. Stick with the wheat flour. Again, sometimes it's more expensive. This is actually just Kroger brand. It's maybe I think $1 or $2 more than the unbleached flour, but 10 times better for your dog. So we're going to throw that in there. 1.5 cups of wheat flour. And then it calls for 1 large egg. again, eggs on sale. So cash in on those eggs while they're going down, which makes me extremely happy. So I'm going to put my egg in there, and I'm going to start messing with that. Scooping that up real quick. And so we've got that going around. And next we're going to go for one teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is good for people, but it's also good for pets. Pets and their digestive system. Very, very good for them. And so we're going to throw that in there. Start getting that all up in there. And we're going to now put in our half a cup of applesauce. So now let me address while I'm mixing this up, I'm going to address the elephant in the room with regards to the applesauce. Applesauce. Let's talk applesauce. Because as we're talking about healthy things for our dog, one of the things that was brought up to me in the past couple episodes, as I'm trying to get this out of my whisk, not really a good idea for Jen. But anyways, so one of the comments that was brought up to me was, Jen, sometimes you use applesauce in your recipes. And I said, well, why, yes, I do. And they said, well, you talk about using, everything that goes into your recipe is, basically, everything that you're using in your recipes are, all natural and everything. And I said, well, yeah. And they were like, well, your applesauce is coming in a jar, basically hinting that I don't make my own applesauce. And, I thought, well, how nice of them to point that out, that I'm not making my own applesauce. And my answer to that is I could. You're right. I absolutely could make my own applesauce. Now, granted, I do buy the applesauce that is, unsweetened, organic, and with the least amount of preservatives in it. And I would really love to be Laura Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie and make everything that goes into every ingredient here. But I also don't grow the wheat that goes into the flour that I'm using. So, I mean, maybe I'm one of these. I will make my own applesauce. That might be a fun episode to do. But, and I guess applesauce probably isn't that challenging to make. But, I mean, some of the things, you really don't want to reinvent the wheel on. And applesauce is kind of one of them. I mean, it's just kind of grinding up apples. I mean, I could throw it, I guess, in one of the blenders and do it that way. But I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to leave it to, the Johnny Appleseeds of the world. Let them do that. I don't mind that portion of it. But I don't mind that. I mean, I also don't, grind my own peanuts for the peanut butter. I mean, that's okay too. So, but anyway, so that's why I don't really do the applesauce. I guess I could if I really wanted to, but I just don't. So, anyways, one flaw for Jen. Anyways, so the next thing that we're going to use is 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. Now, with this is one thing I did learn with this recipe. I never cooked with cooking oil or coconut oil before. So this is something I learned with this. And now, granted, coconut oil is very, very healthy for people and for dogs. And it comes in a form that is, I'll kind of show you this. It comes in a form that is like solid. It's more of a solid form. And so if I just took 2 big tablespoons and put it in here, it would be very clumpy. So what I did was I took 2 tablespoons and I put it in a dish and I heated it up. So now it's in more of a liquid form. And I'm going to put that in here so that it's evenly distributed through my mixture. But yeah, when I initially tried to make this, I was looking at it and I'm like, well, how am I going to get this through here? Because it was all so clumpy. And then I'm like, well, maybe I just need to heat it up. And that worked out 100 times better than what what was going on. So yeah, so I just highly recommend, if when you use it, just heat it up. Make life better for yourself. So then we've got that. Now this recipe did call for the recipe did say that you could, if you so wanted to, add in. Let me just finish adding some of this. It did say that if you wanted to add a whole apple, you could. So if you wanted to peel an apple and chop it up very fine, you could add in fresh apple. Absolutely. Again, with these recipes, you can add in, and you could add oats to this. Make it any way you want. Healthy ingredients. Just that's the fun thing about these recipes. As long as what you're adding is safe for your dog, then that's great. And again, your dogs will love you for it. The only thing with the natural dog recipes is, because they are all natural, the shelf life. You don't have a long shelf life. So kind of 2 things. A, you have to keep them refrigerated or throw them in the freezer. And then B, you have to either keep them refrigerated or throw them in the freezer when not using. And then I said, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get this all mixed in really, really good for us. And then, or B, like I said, just make enough so that that either, when you're giving them to people, make sure you tell them that these have to be eaten like within, a week and a half. Unless they're, again, you don't want them left out. You want them kept in containers. You want them in the refrigerator, because again, these all natural. These are for your pets. They don't have any preservatives in them that will keep them in the stores. They have preservatives in them so that they have a longer shelf life. We don't have that in here, which is great, because then, again, we know what's going in there for our dogs. So, and our last ingredient that we're going to throw in is our cinnamon. Cinnamon is very good for our dogs in small amounts. So this calls for a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Cinnamon's great for their digestive system and so forth. So I'm going to throw that in there, but again, in small amounts. And we want to make sure that we're using, real pure cinnamon. So putting that in there. But yeah, cinnamon's very, very good for digestive systems on dogs. So we'll get this mixed in here. And then we will start getting this into our donut maker. So we can see the magic starting to be made on that. And you can see how quick it's going to go in the machine. So let me get all this stuff moved over real quick. Oops. Move this in here. And look how quick that is. Again, and something else that if you've got kids, they can help you with. if you've got, you know, projects, this is fun stuff. Something you do as a family, something you just do at home, anything you can do where you're, you know what's going in your pet's food. And again, if your dog has allergies, you know exactly what's going in there. So you can control that, which is, again, my little Rosie. I need to know exactly what's going in her food. So anyways, so let's get started on this. So I'm going to take little small amounts. I'm going to put it in these, if I can turn it this way so you can kind of see what's going on here. Yeah, and this dough, I mean, you get a pretty decent amount of dough in here. And 2, 4, 6, 7, you get 7 donuts in this little maker. I'll put this around here. But, and it, like I said, it doesn't take too long once you get all this in here. Might even, oops. In it. But I would definitely, if you're having, you know, if you're having little kids help you do this, you know, you definitely want supervision on it, because this whole pot or pan is, I mean, it's hot. So, I mean, but again, how much fun is this? And I highly recommend that if you are giving them out as gifts, or not gifts, but I mean, if you're giving, well, I mean, I guess you give them as gifts if you're really wanting to. But if you're giving them out, make sure you're advising the people that you're giving them to that they're dog treats and not regular treats. I mean, I mean, that's up to you. Do what you want. I mean, I guess it could be like an April Fool's joke. I don't know. But anyway, so, you know, I mean, they might be mad at you. I don't, just do what you want. But I mean, like I said, once we start decorating and so forth, they come out really cute and so forth. So I put a little bit more in here, but so we're just going to pop that down. This is the same thing, kind of like with the dog treat maker. The little light is going to come on. Let's see, hang on. Oops, yeesh. Little light will come on when it's cooking, and it'll shut off when it's done. And literally, I think it only takes like 2 minutes. So while that's doing that, I'm going to fill out, well, I might not get a lot in these bigger ones, but I might save it. No, I don't know. Let's see. May not get a lot in these bigger ones, but we'll see. Like I said, we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. But either way, such a fun, easy recipe. And I'll show you, just like with the birthday cake, the frosting is even easier. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 frosting. So healthy. Dogs love it. And I will say that you can leave it. I mean, you can add, I'll show you, you can add colors to it and make it, you know, you could just make it fun and all that good stuff. So, but still cooking. So the rest of this batter, now granted, I could probably make, I would say probably another set of these in there, another 2 sets with this batter in here. And this recipe isn't even for something like this. I mean, because again, this is for humans, not for people. And now look at this. Oh, where's my little thing here? Look at this. So this is done. Look how quick that was. And now you have little donut treats for your dogs. Let me pick that up. But I'll just pull them out of here. Wait. I'll start pulling these out. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect little donuts. Perfect little donuts. Miss Noir is telling us that she wants a donut, and that's good. Yes, she does. She's saying she wants a donut, and that's good. So yeah, but look at that. I mean, look how quick that was. Perfect little donuts. So I'm going to put those off to the side. I'm going to close that. And like I said, I've got the rest of these. Remember what I was saying about the silicone pan? But I got the rest of that batter in here, and I can make another set of batter and put that in there. And now I will tell you this, once these are out, once you make a bunch of the donuts in here, you're going to want to put these in the fridge before you do the frosting. Before you do frosting, before you do any decorating, because these are going to be hot. So what I found was your best bet is to put these in the fridge for, I don't know, maybe at least 20 minutes. Let them cool down, because if you start putting frosting on it, frosting's going to get all over the place, and it's just going to be a mess. So what you can do is, because you're still on these, basically, these are way too hot. You want to cool them down, because then once they cool down, then you can actually work with them. And then, you can punch the holes through to make them look like donuts. And I'll show you the finished product here in a second. But yeah, you punch the holes through them, you can do things. And one thing I will tell you, another nice thing about this recipe, one of the things I really, really love is the fact that this recipe is not a hard dog treat. It's a softer recipe. So it's for, I personally like dog treats that are softer. And the reason why is because, in my opinion, a lot of when dogs get older, their teeth are older. Sometimes they have harder time chewing. I know that when I had, an older dog, my little Sweet Pea, she had harder time, she had a harder time chewing, harder things. And so it was, when, many of your treats out there, she couldn't eat them. And so, it wasn't fair to her to be able to see other dogs have treats and then she couldn't have them. So to be able to give a dog a treat that everybody can have and everybody can enjoy. And I just like that. And so having something that's easier on their teeth and they're, it's and good and healthy, which is a plus. So yeah, these will go in the fridge for, you could even put them in there for like a, half an hour or whatever. Just make sure that they're completely cool before you start messing with them. So I'm going to put those back there for a second, but I want to show you how, and I'm going to put these over here. I want to show you how they look once they are cool. So anyway, this is how, when they come out of the little pans, these little donut pans, this is how they look. Now I went through and I took out the little holes, but look how cute that is. Cute little donuts, right? Look how adorable that is. And so you got the little ones, and then you got the big ones. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to decorate these real quick, or decorate some of them so that you can see how easy it is. And I'm going to do the same frosting recipe that we've done on the ones before, because to me, that is the simplest, healthiest frosting recipe for dogs. So I am going to grab a bowl, and I'm going to grab my go-to, which is going to be I'm going to grab my yogurt, and I'm going to grab my peanut butter, and a little bit of vanilla. And then I'm going to grab the fun stuff. And you're like, Jen, what's the fun stuff? Well, let me tell you what the fun stuff is. Well, let me just show you what the fun stuff is. So, anyways, so let me start out with my yogurt, which is going to be my Greek yogurt. And it is going to be my, what do you call it? Unsweetened Greek yogurt. So, and I do a really good amount of Greek yogurt, especially when, I mean, I've got a decent amount of, so I'm going to do a half a cup of Greek yogurt in here, because we have a good amount of donuts in there. So, well, yeah, so half a cup of Greek yogurt, and then I'm going to do let's see there. I'm going to grab my creamy peanut butter, and let's see here. I'm going to do probably a third cup of peanut butter. And really the peanut butter is just to thicken up the frosting. It makes sure the frosting and the yogurt hold together. So that's the reasoning behind the peanut butter. Plus it makes the yogurt taste good. I'm going to throw in a little bit of vanilla. Just a little bit, not a lot. There's my little teaspoons. I'm going to do a real little bit of that. Just a little bit. All right. And that there. Let's start mixing this up. So, but yeah, I mean, there's other frosting recipes out there, but this is one that I found is extremely easy. It's quick, it's easy. You can add things to it. If you wanted to, you could add fruit to it. You can add, well, you can just add whatever you want to it. You could add bits of, I don't know, anything, I guess. Like you're going to see here in a minute, I'm going to add pieces of bacon to it on one of them. And then, but here's one thing here. I'll take that there. I'm going to, let's see. So I'm going to take 2 plates here. I'm going to divide some of this up. I'm going to put some frosting on one and some frosting on the other, because what we're going to do, we're going to get a little creative. Now, keep in mind, I say creative, but with that being said, I'm being creative. That doesn't mean that I'm artistic. So I'm going to do the best that I can at decorating. I'm not, as I mentioned in my cake decorating, I'm not a very good decorator. I do my best, and thank God they're dogs and they can't talk. So I do my best, I try my best, but that is the best that I can do. So what I'm going to do here, to make them look like donuts, I'm going to take a little bit of this, I'm going to take a little bit of red and yellow, because red and yellow make pink, and I'm going to try to make a pink color, and I'm using, this is gel. This is red and yellow gel, food coloring. I'm not using food coloring, I'm using the gel food coloring. It's safer for dogs than food coloring is. So we're going with the gel food coloring. You put a little bit more red than you do yellow in order to make pink. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to mix that up. See if we can get a pink color here, because a lot of your donuts are pink. So I know I want to make pink looking donuts. And again, I'm going to do my best to make it look like a donut. So I don't want to see in the comments that Jen, it doesn't look like a donut, or, you know, your decorating sucks, because I know it already. So, I mean, you can put it there and that's fine. It won't hurt my feelings, because I already know that my decorating ability is not that great. But I do know that my intentions are great, and that is all that matters. So, and again, the beauty of the canine is that they cannot speak. So they can not tell me that my decorating sucks. Only you can. So please be kind. So we're getting more of a red color here, which is fine. I may try to add in, which actually doesn't look too bad. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of fine. But I'm gonna put maybe just a little bit more yellow. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe we'll get something. It's kind of pinkish, I guess. But anyways, so mixing this up, and then because my favorite color is blue, I'm going to make the other one blue. So we're going to have pink donuts and blue donuts. Put that on that one. And again, super simple, super fun. And mix this one up. And I also like it because it's like a robin egg color blue. And so, and again, I mean, the decorating part, yeah, I think that's more for humans, to be honest. But I think it's cute, you know. I mean, who doesn't like donuts? And you know, again, all this is healthy, and it's just something that you do out of love for your dogs. And if anything, you know, you can take these places. You can take them, you know, to, if you have an event, you can give them as a gift and say, oh, look what I made for you and, you know, your dogs. And then you can have people talk behind your back and say, oh my God, look at her. You know, this is what she does, blah, blah, blah. You know, I get it. You know, it's great. That's the kind of, you know, good talking that you want behind your back. So that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. But anyway, so I've got my red and my blue. Look how nice that looks. And that's like a frosting for a dog. I mean, how nice is that? And even if by chance your toddler comes in and eats this, they'll be fine. It's just yogurt and peanut butter. Nobody's going to die from this. I mean, it's good stuff. I mean, again, if your dog can eat it, your kids can eat it. I mean, not going to die. Anyway, so let's get started on this. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of our donuts, going to throw it on a plate, and let's start with the pink one, I guess, right? Start with the pink one. I'm going to snag some frosting, and I'm going to try to make this look nice. And another thing that I found was after you decorate it, it's best if you put it back into the fridge for a good amount of time, probably maybe like a half an hour or so, and then let the icing sit onto the donut for, let it kind of harden on top. until like you're ready to go somewhere, you're ready to give it to somebody. And then it'll harden up nice and then perfect. Oops. And then you can move on to the next one. We'll go with a blue one now. Actually, I'm going to try to use something else on this one. Make it a little bit easier. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, unless you're going to be in some sort of cooking challenge for some reason. If you are, congratulations. But if you're not, then just have fun with it. You know, again, if you're just doing this for you, if you're doing this for your dogs, you know, if you're giving it to somebody, you know, as a gift, I think that's awfully nice no matter what. You know, because it's no matter what, it's a thought that counts. You took your time to do something nice for somebody and, you know, and their dogs, and, you know, that's a beautiful thing. So people should appreciate things like that, because not many people do, you know, do nice things for people anymore. So, all right, we got that one. That one looks nice. I just messed it up. So that one's there. I got that one. We'll snag another one real quick. We'll only do a few of these, and like I said, I'll show you kind of the result, but I want to show you also some of the fun things you can put on top. Like I said, these are all kind of dog safe items that you can stick on top, just to kind of have fun with it a little bit. But yeah, that's been kind of the fun thing about doing these episodes is, you know, not only, you know, changing up the theme of the show a little bit, lightening up the topics from, you know, pet grief a little bit, you know, because we still do those as well. But, you know, venturing on to the kitchen side, you know, I've learned so much, and I've learned so much on, like I said, things that I would never venture off and do the silicone thing. Like I said, after the whole Lego debacle, I mean, I would have never touched another silicone pan again to save my life. You know, so, but, you know, I will say once I got Rosie, and with all of her allergies, and since I had to start physically making her food, her dog food, you know, that really opened my eyes to how serious it is, knowing what goes into what goes into the dog food that we buy for our animals. I mean, if you really look into the ingredients on the bags of dog food, you know, there's some not so good stuff in there. And, you know, that's not downing people either that, you know, may not be able to make their dog food every 2 weeks. You know, there's some people that, you know, they don't have that ability, that, you know, or maybe their only option is to, you know, purchase food and all that. You know, that's, you know, if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. I you know, I had, you know, like I said, prior to having Rosie, that's all I did. You know, I bought bagged food for my dogs all their lives. And yes, my dogs lived till 15, 16 years old. So, you know, I mean, that's not downing people that buy bagged food at all. Like I said, I just had to switch to due to my one dog. And on this journey, I've learned so much. So yeah, if you know, if that's what you have to do due to maybe financial situations and so forth, you know, then, you know, that you do you. That's, you know, that everybody's different. And so it just, but if you have that opportunity where you can do a healthier option, then that's fine too. But like I said, this way is a lot, it's time consuming by far. So anyways, so back to this. I've got 4 of them done. And like I said, they're not perfect, but I will show you some of the things that I did get. I did buy, I did get some sprinkles because you can jazz up these donuts with sprinkles. So you can put sprinkles on them to make them look like donuts. So I'll put some of that on there. And so I'm going to put some of those on there. And then I also got some bacon bits. So I'm going to put some of these on there as well. Because I don't know what dog does not like bacon. Even though I know that these are apple cinnamon. But I guess it could be apple cinnamon bacon, right? Who doesn't like apples and bacon, right? But I'm going to put some of those on there. And then I'll show you how nice this looks once it's done here. It's kind of the but yeah. Oh, quite well. So there you have it. There you have it. So, and I'll get a better picture of that as well. But how easy was that? You could either, like I said, you can buy the silicone pans, or if you can find one of the donut makers. Silicone pans are going to get you the bigger donuts. The donut maker is going to get you the smaller ones, which is going to be great if you want to do the more of the donuts, the smaller ones. But either way, this recipe is amazing. I'll put the recipe in the comment section below. And until next week, if you don't have a friend, you have one now. Thanks for stopping by. Pardon my Frenchie, this is me. Make sure you hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. I want to hear from you. So please submit your comments. And then if you have a story to tell, we want to hear from you. Send it to Pardon My Frenchie, this is me, 143 at yahoo.com. Thanks so much for stopping by. Take care. Bye-bye.
Let's go!